So it is a beautiful Tuesday morning in Torquay. I'm very lucky to live a stone's throw away from the seafront beach, and this is Tor Abbey Meadows behind me. Looking forward. So it is a beautiful Tuesday morning in Torquay in Devon, which is where I live. I'm lucky to live a stone's throw away from the beach, which is where I'm walking at the moment. I've got Tor Abbey Meadows behind me. This video is going to be a little bit different to what I've been posting lately with all of my travelling. It's a bit of a personal prep update, so I'm about either 13 or 14 weeks out from when my first show is going to be this season. I've decided to prep again. I feel that I'm in a good enough spot now with regards to the recovery from the pec tear injury, and decided to do some international shows this year. So I think I'm going to go to South Korea, maybe China. There's also the potential for the USA, South Africa, some really good opportunities coming up this year. I just want to make the most of being able to travel and possibly get paid for it. So exciting year coming up. I'm currently down to 116.2 kilos this morning. Martin hasn't really changed my diet whatsoever. He's just included 7.5k steps each day and 30 minutes of low intensity steady state cardio taken out off plan meals, and that's kind of all I need to do at this point in the prep to lose a decent amount of weight. And I'm very responsive, I'm getting fuller, I've started my cycle again. So later on in this video I'm going to go into more of the dark side of professional bodybuilding and what it really takes to become one of the best in terms of the enhancements that we use. And you'll find that this is typical amongst a lot of amateur athletes as well as myself. You might be shocked with what you see, especially if you're not from the bodybuilding community, but it's the reality of it. And in the UK at the minute, I feel that the kind of steroid or PED culture is absolutely massive, and you'll get a lot of average gym goers doing more than what I'm about to show you. And people need to remember one thing to really nail the basics. All of this stuff is just the icing on the cake of plans which are already very good and very consistent. You know, before I even started dabbling with anabolics, I had been training for a good 7 years at that point, and my bench press was already up at like 130, 140 kilos. My deadlift was already really high. I think I was squatting something like 160 kilos with full range of motion. So it's really important to build up a foundation of strength naturally before you go looking for shortcuts. I get a lot of people inquire with me who are on ridiculous cycles who just have no place taking that amount because they aren't training consistently, not doing cardio, they're not eating. The food side of things is probably the most common downfall with a lot of people. And when it really boils down to it, bodybuilding is primarily two things, which is getting really strong and eating the right amount of good whole foods to support your training. And a lot of people are doing neither of those things. They're looking for shortcuts in their training, doing too much isolation work too early on in their career. They're also not eating the right macronutrients, people going for protein bars. And when a client signs up with me and I first make their plans and they've been doing something like that previously, you know, they haven't been too knowledgeable about their training, they haven't been eating a proper diet, one type of person will lean into it and take on board what I'm saying. They will apply themselves 100%, they'll be obsessed. These are just the people who didn't have the knowledge previously, and people who just needed the right guidance. But then the other type of person is someone who that will push away. They signed up with me looking for me to give them a load of steroids to take, tell them they can eat what they want and get massive and become a pro the easy way. People who are looking for shortcuts quickly realize that there is no easy way, and they can take all of that stuff and their physique doesn't improve because you have to be nailing the basics. And another important point is what distinguishes a pro level competitor from an amateur level competitor or a first timer or a pre-first timer competitor is simply consistency over time. Bodybuilding takes a long time to reach your potential. I'd say you won't know whether you can be successful as a pro until about 10 years after starting to take this seriously. Muscle gain, maturing the muscle, bringing total balance to your physique, building enough size takes 10 years, I would say, to really get to where you need to be and where the physique is sort of maxed out. And even then, there's more to get out of it. That number of years has to also be very perfect. And the further along you get in those 10 years, the more perfect you have to be to continue to see the results at the rate that you were getting them in year one. So eventually you get to the point where just having a full-time job and working bodybuilding around your life no longer gets you results, and you may go 1 year to the next and realize you've made no improvements. And sometimes that's just due to not being particular enough with everything. And that's when you need to make that shift to making bodybuilding the priority in your life, everything else coming next. And that comes down to everything from meal timings, the amount of sleep you're getting, when you're taking certain supplements, doing your intra, your post, your pre-workout meal all at the right times, making sure that you do a portion of your cardio fasted and a portion of it later in the day. Setting up every aspect of your day to work around the end goal and doing that day in, day out without any breaks for a really long period of time. And I'm all for having a bit of freedom and balance as a bodybuilder, but usually you don't progress on those weeks, especially when you get to the higher level. You need to be super perfect. And if you go away on holiday, even if you're still training hard, you still perceive yourself to be eating well out of the hotel or wherever you're staying, generally you're going to go backwards. It's something that if you want to get to that level, you have to absolutely love it for the joy of the process, because it will absolutely take over your life. And if you don't enjoy and love that, then one, you're never going to be able to do it, but two, you will also resent the time that you do start to do it, and three, you won't be able to keep that up for long enough to be able to actually become good. So you've got to be really obsessed with all the minor details, and not only the training, because just loving the training isn't enough in my opinion. You've also really got to love doing the diet side of things and being particular with your nutrition, because that makes up such a big element of it. And anyway, the reason I'm going into this is because what I'm about to show you is my current drug stack or cycle for my show. And actually I've done more in the past. So this is light for me, and this is me at like 13 weeks out. But if I just showed this to someone who hadn't been a bodybuilder yet, and they hadn't gone through the whole process and realize what I've just said in the past few minutes, they would think that this is the answer and they can just take all this and look like me. But this is after you've already been doing all of the other things consistently for ages and you're nailing everything consistently over time. That's when this stuff comes into play and this stuff really works. So I'm going to flip this camera around now because I kind of want this to be a bit of a shock factor. Not a lot of people realize the reality of this, and sometimes this can put people off when they get to a high level. Granted, some people don't need to do this. I'm one who doesn't have the best genetics as a bodybuilder, but very few people have that elite level of genetics where you can get to a pro level naturally, or a pro level with like a lighter amount of anabolic. So you do need to take a decent amount of stuff, and some of it's capsules, but what I'm going to show you is the amount of injections, which I currently take on, I would say, pretty much a daily basis in front of me. So here we have them all lined up. So what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different injections per day. Now, I could combine those peptides, to be fair, some of them into the same needle, but you're actually not meant to do that. You're meant to, because they have different pHs and different makeups. If you mix them, they may not be quite as effective, but I'll go through things one by one. So here on the left is injectable L-carnitine. This is an amino acid which helps transport fatty acids from your bloodstream to your mitochondria to be burnt. So basically it makes your body more efficient at burning fat. You can take that at the right time. So before a workout's really good because you have your food going in at that time. It responds particularly well when you have insulin production in your body. So if you have food intake high, you take that, it's going to be super active during your training session. But you can also take it before your fasted cardio, before your cardio. It's a good one to have in. It's also allowed for natural athletes as well, as far as I'm aware. This one here is Mediform. Now this is something which I'm trialing this year. I've not done it before. Basically, it's site enhancement oil. It's kind of like glue if you look at the gloopy consistency of it, and I've got to do quite a lot of that to kind of bring balance to the area where I had my pec tear, as one arm was in a sling for a long period of time, and the arm currently measures about 2.5 centimeters less than my good arm that wasn't in the sling and didn't have the muscle tear. So the idea is going to be that, just go to my arm. So I'm here. Every 5 days, I'm going to do about 1.5 milliliters in my front delt, my side delt, my rear delt, my bicep head on this side, my bicep head on this side, my tricep head here, the long head, and the underneath head of the tricep. So in total, it's about 10.5 ml, 5 days or so until balance is in that area, and then you can use a maintenance dose of it. So that's quite an extreme one that not a lot of people talk about, as although enhancements are allowed in bodybuilding competitions, people can abuse that as well. I've seen people do stupid things with it, like you see these Brazilian guys on YouTube or Instagram with huge balloon arms. That's just an extreme example of people injecting like vegetable oil, but there are people who have just used this Mediform product too much and they've given themselves imbalance by making the areas too big. They've also blurred definition in the muscle. If you use too much of it, will take away from that grainy, striated look in the muscle. So you have got to be really careful with that, and you've got to be careful injecting it as well, because it sits in the muscle for a long period of time and it can be risky if it blocks a vein or goes anywhere near a vein. So I am only using anabolics this prep that have had third-party lab verification in the last few months, and that's because there's so much fake masteron going around at the moment and just fake things in general. So I'm currently on 900 of the masteron, 900 of the testosterone per week, but we will be at some point adding the trenbolone to that, probably around 300 per week, and I will be changing up the ratio of this so that my testosterone goes lower than 900 and my masteron goes higher than 900. That's my anabolics, and as you can see, that's only one very small part of the PED equation. There's a lot of different pathways to fat loss and to muscle gain, and people tend to fixate on this one, whereas this one is the most dangerous, and you actually want to spread the load out throughout all these different methods and not just focus on the anabolic side of things. I've also got Novo Rapid Insulin, 5 units before a workout meal and 5 units with my post-workout meal. That's going to help drive those nutrients, shuttle them to the muscle during my training, after my training, when that glycogen and protein synthesis needs to be replenished and increased. Then Lantus insulin, which is taken in the morning with my meal 1, and that's just to help shuttle the same nutrients, transport that, but all throughout the day at a slower rate. Peptides wise, so I'm mainly using this one, which is Cyzen growth hormone. It's actual pharmacy prescription grade growth hormone from the UK, which is really good. Straight out of a pharmacy. And I've also got generic growth hormone, as this one here is very expensive and it's like gold dust. So I split it and I do 2 units of the generic in the morning, 4 units of the Cyzen before bed. Then we've got the standard BPC 157, which I'm still just using to send additional blood supply to my pec tear injury site, and I've just been using that consistently over the last year. We've got here IGF-1 DES. So growth hormone is actually a precursor to IGF-1, and the main reason you take growth hormone, well, one of the reasons, not the main reason, is to increase your body's production of IGF-1. So in theory, you can override that by directly taking IGF-1 itself. And that's taken locally into the muscle trained in the middle of your workout. It has a very, very short half-life, so you have to time it well. You need to have an intra-workout to make sure that it doesn't cause any hypos, as it can have insulin-like effects. Then we've got these 2 mitochondrial enhancement peptides. And MOTS-C being a very useful one for so many different things. That has a lot of hype around it at the moment. And I've got SS31 synergistically to improve the efficiency and the number of mitochondria cells that your body has. Again, similar to the L-carnitine, working well with that to improve the way in which your body utilizes energy and burns fat. The reason I'm using these 2 mitochondria ones, I don't normally use them on prep, is because I can't use clenbuterol anymore, as I'm currently taking a beta blocker tablet, which is prescribed by the doctor, and clenbuterol actually has the opposite effect. So it would just be like I'm taking one and the other one completely counteracts it, meaning that I'm not taking anything. So it's pretty pointless. So I'm using other methods to help my fat loss at the moment. Later in the prep, we do have Proviron in at the moment at 25 milligrams per day. Later in the prep, we will be using some SLU PP332. This one actually has a couple of other ingredients in it. It's a pretty cool little formulation. It's got cardarine 5 milligrams and lipotropin, which is a fragment of growth hormone that assists in fat loss. So growth hormone frees up fatty acids from your body fat cells and puts them into your bloodstream ready to be burnt, which is really useful around fasted cardio. But it's only a certain part of growth hormone. Like I said, growth hormone has many benefits, such as increasing IGF-1 satellite signaling. But this particular fragment of growth hormone, if you take a bit more of it, it'll increase that fat burning capacity of it. And if you take that at the right time, such as before your cardio, along with these other 2, it can help with fat loss again as a substitute for clenbuterol. Clenbuterol is by far the most powerful and widely used fat loss aid in a prep. So even all of this combined probably wouldn't be as good as just 1 tablet of clenbuterol, but it is what it is. Got to get that little extra 0.1%. I've also got thyroid medication, so T4 and T3, which I will perhaps make a little section on that after, because not a lot of people understand why you need to take both and what they actually do and what's actually going on, what the thyroid is. And we have Arimidex, which will go in later in the prep. I currently don't need any aromatase inhibitor on 900 testosterone. My estrogen does go up a bit, but I'm not prone to gynecomastia, so it only has benefits for me. And we spoke about the tren, the metformin as well, which is a type 2 diabetes medication. It's really good for keeping your insulin sensitivity high. And we have telmisartan as well, which is good for controlling blood pressure. We'll be adding to that stack as well some Superdrol, as well as some Anavar and some Halo testing at some point towards the end of prep as well. But that's really my current stack in anything that will be going in the near future. If If I show you now on a blood test what a thyroid blood test looks like. So you've got thyroid stimulating hormone, you've got free T4, and then you have free T3. Thyroid stimulating hormone is something which your pituitary gland sends to your thyroid, a signal to tell your thyroid to produce T4. Your thyroid then converts the hormone T4 to T3. T3 is what is used by the body and what can help regulate your metabolism. So those are the numbers that you're seeing. When you take artificially, T4 tablets will replace the T4, T3 tablets will replace the T3. So a really good analogy for the thyroid that I have, central heating system. So you have a thermostat, you have a boiler, and then you also have radiators. I have a thermostat here, and I set this to 20 degrees. I'm turning that thyroid stimulating hormone up. So this is effectively your body's TSH in your brain here. This then sends a signal to your thyroid, which is the boiler that's saying, let's heat up the system, let's get that metabolism going. And then the boiler heats up the water inside it and it comes to temperature. But that boiler needs to send that water out to the radiator, and the radiators are your T3. So effectively, your T3 is the only thing which matters, because it doesn't matter if your thermostat is working or not working. It doesn't matter if your boiler is working or not working. If your radiators aren't heating up, your house isn't warm. Sometimes there are broken connections, things that don't work right. Sometimes you can turn this thermostat right up to the very top and it won't heat the water in the boiler up. There's something broken there, and this is fairly common in people with thyroid problems. Their TSH will come up really high, there's loads of signal being sent, but the thyroid doesn't want to produce anything. That's a common problem. Then T4 will be low, and as a result of T4 being low, it doesn't convert to much T3, so T3 will also be low. So you're not getting the hot water in the boiler, it's not in the radiators. The other problem is if your T4 is 20, for example, your T3 should be about 5. But if your T4 is 20 and your T3 is 2.8, then it's not converting properly between the two. So what we can do is artificially replace those two parts of the equation, so those two hormones, T4 and the T3. You can take artificial hormone of T4 and the artificial hormone of T3. Now, in my experience, I will start with T4 because this will not shut off your natural production immediately for everyone. Some people, it depends how much you take. But if you took, say, 50 micrograms of T4, it wouldn't completely shut off your natural production, and your thyroid stimulating hormone, your thermostat, would still be on. The problem of the conversion between T4 and T3. So sometimes the boiler will get to temperature, but it won't be sending out much of that hot water to the radiators. Maybe there's a blockage in the pipe somewhere. And this is where you see people with a good amount of T4, but a very low amount of T3. Generally, a good number is about a quarter of your T4 should be converting to T3, meaning you can also take artificial T3. Now, a previous method in bodybuilding before was to take T3 just on its own, because if it only matters what T3 is, then why do you care about the other two? So people would just take T3 and that would be putting the hot water directly into the radiators. Your house is warm, brilliant, that's worked. But the problem with that is that every time I've seen someone take T3 on its own, it will shut down the amount of T4, so that will go to pretty much 0, and it will shut down the thermostat because they're not needed anymore because the radiators are already hot. So what I like to do instead is replicate that natural system. So put in T4 first, always going on blood tests to guide you, because one person's response can be completely different to another's. So a little bit of T4, if it's needed, increase the T4. As you get more into a deficit, you'll need more of this. So adaptive thermogenesis, if you look at a natural athlete's thyroid panel, that will come down over the course of a prep. But if you look at an enhanced person's thyroid panel who's taking this, it will still come down, and you'll simply need to increase it throughout the prep. Not all the time though, it just depends on the person. This is why you need blood tests. So each opportunity is the ideal way. Sometimes you can use a bit of guesswork if you can't afford the blood test, but I'd still get the blood test done at least twice throughout the contest prep to double check where it is, kind of gauge from that how much you need. The problem is if you take that much is that it can lead to thyroid difficulties after coming off. You may, like the thyroid's very good at bouncing back. So when you stop taking testosterone, your hormone system takes a good 5 weeks to even think about starting to get ready to go again. With the thyroid, if you came off of that all cold turkey, it would rebound and go back to normal very quickly. But if you've abused thyroid drugs like that and you've taken way too much, sometimes that amount that it rebounds and goes back to isn't going to be as high as it was before you took all that and did that to yourself. So you do have to be careful with that respect, and that's why you find some bodybuilders opt to stay on an amount of T4 throughout their entire off season to keep that topped up, to keep their metabolism functioning how they want it to. This is all just from experimenting on myself, working with other individuals and what I've seen through blood tests and my understanding of it. But then I'm here with Jez and Victoria. These guys signed up for me in January. Me and Jez go way back. We competed on stage together, 2022 British finals. I came first, Jez came second, but we both beat some outstanding guys. You know,
good standard, yeah.
I believe Jez was at a PCA pro standard there, and he's had a few years out now. A few different reasons.
Yeah.
He's had his gyno operation in...
Gyno, yeah.
When was that? January, so he's going to come back this year, be his very best yet. You're up at, what's your weight this morning?
108 this morning, but 111.
111. So that's a big level up in muscularity. We're going to grow into the prep as well. 100%. We've got a little pre-prep priming phase now, where we're going to let your health markers come back down, get the stress off of your body, but marinate the muscle that you've gained through the growth phase. And then we drop into prep. We're up at 1 in the morning every day. You're
training by 2.
You're going to be able to put on muscle through this prep because you're just so specific of everything, and you want this more than anything.
Appreciate that, man.
You love bodybuilding.
I do.
We got Victoria here as well. She will be going for wellness competition at some point in the future. That's a long-term goal of ours. You're just as meticulous as Jez. You're up at the same kind of times.
Yeah, we love it.
Eating.
People think we're bonkers.
Live and breathe like a bodybuilder. We're here at Planet Fitness in Tredegar. We're going to get a upper body session in. We're like kids in a candy shop here with all the different machines. It's absolutely mental.
Crazy amount of equipment, yeah.
So we're going to just hit a bit of everything and play around on some of the machines. One more from here.
Fuck off. Yeah, I was looking at my calorie drop. You've dropped. It's such a lot of food. I still haven't noticed really, but I think you've dropped 700 calories out on my training day.
Yeah.
600 on my non-training day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like much change apart from like the egg whites, and it's just like...
No, it's like, it was just like additional little bits that we added in to top up those calories. Yeah. So you can reduce a lot of calories without feeling like you're eating any less
like
food.
you dropped a lot of the fats out of like There's 25 grams of fat in my peanut butter in the morning. That's another 15, and just little bits and bobs. Couldn't believe it was 700 calories down.
Yeah. So it's like what food is the most useful? Keep that food in, and take out the food that's like you don't really need. And
to be honest, mate, I'm really happy you put the egg whites in because I fucking love the egg whites. I can make them into a really nice.
Yeah, he makes them look really nice.
I cook it in a pan, flip it over so it's like a pancake, and then I just season it with a little bit of peri-peri and this paprika chip seasoning. I could have just egg whites and it's banging. So
Force these last few out. And again, mate. Another one your own. That's it, you got this. Stretch. Power, let's go. Yep. All the way. Come on. Come on. There.
Yeah, good. Of course, Good. Yeah. Good. Lovely. Come on. More. Come on, get aggressive. Yeah. Fuck the form, let's go. Again, one more. And again, last one. That's it. Lovely.
Come on, mate. Fill the pussy, let's go. Drag it back. And again. Don't care about the form now, just squeeze them up. Whatever it takes, let's go. 3 more, come on. 1, 2,
Again.
come on.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. There we go, that looks better already. Yeah, perfect. 4, 5, huh? 6, good. Feel better.